What is a woman? As a man, of course, I could just say that a woman is the most wonderful thing God ever created, right after creating the man when he wanted to show off. But anyway, as a Chinese medicine practitioner, I will explain what a woman is from a yin-yang perspective. So, what is a woman? Um, yeah, like you heard in the intro, as a man, of course, I'm biased because I love women so much, especially my own one, my wife. Yeah, but I want to put some light on what being a woman means from a yin yang perspective. So, we are going to talk about qualities that are associated with yin, which is, of course, in this yin yang chart, is the black downward moving part. That's the yin. Okay, so the yang naturally moves up, the yin naturally moves down. Okay, so what does that mean? This downward movement is associated with receptivity, okay, with the openness for receiving, okay. And that openness can be being open to for emotions that others might have. It could also mean being open for new ideas. So the feminine, the yin, is from a yin yang point of view the more receptive part. Okay. Then something which is associated with the yin is, of course, nurturing. Okay. Nurturing in the sense of nurturing a baby, of course, which is very literal if you think of breastfeeding. The woman is directly nurturing the body of the fetus inside of them in their womb first. And when the baby is born, women are nurturing the baby with their breast milk, which is an unbelievably beautiful process, which yeah, touches me every time when I think about it. Yeah, thanks to all you great women out there for doing that. So you could also think of this in terms of human recreation. You could argue from a Taoist point of view that the male part, the yang, kind of reaches out to heaven, reaches up to heaven, catching the soul out of heaven, pulling it to the earth, and then by engaging in sex with a female, the male part kind of hands over the soul from the heavens to the woman, and the woman kind of takes the soul and presses it into the flesh. That's a classical Taoist picture. So this one in this picture you could interpret as the baby. Okay, so the woman who is connected to the earth rather than to the heavens, which is also part of this picture. The yang is moving towards heaven and the yin is moving towards earth, which is also the reason why in a lot of ancient cultures the heaven is associated with a father and the earth is associated with a mother earth. Okay, so the mother kind of connects the soul, the spirit of the unborn child with the flesh, so that the baby can be born in a physical form on this planet. That's just a little excursus on the recreation from a Taoist perspective. Okay. So yeah, so the nurturing aspect is a natural part of the yin, And you can see that as well when you think about Mother Earth, because Mother Earth is what nurtures us, right? We get the grains, we get the vegetables, we get even the animals take the energy from the soil through eating vegetables and weeds, and then we eat the animals. So in a very direct sense, we are nurtured by Mother Earth, okay? And that's why it's associated with the yin. Okay, so also associated with the yin is everything which has to do with stillness and calmness. Okay, so for women, it's a lot easier than for men to stay calm, and to be patient, to wait for the right moment, which is a virtue which is called Wu Wei in Taoist thinking. This principle of not forcefully trying to change things, but instead waiting for the right moment for things to occur. And women are naturally closer to that. That part of the female character is also known as female intuition. Okay, so this knowing of things, but not from a logical perspective, which is more yang quality, this rational thinking. But women have this deep connection to reality, which works without thinking. Okay, which means that they very often they just know what to do or what not to do, and that can be very helpful. And I ask my wife many times about things when I'm insecure or don't know, and then she just knows. Okay, so that's a wonderful thing. Yeah, so this feeling-based awareness of the world, that is a very yin quality. Okay. So, of course, softness, being soft, being able to let in, is, of course, yin quality. Fluidity. And, well, if you think of yin-yang, if you think about what yin and yang mean, you can always just think about sexual intercourse, actually. Because in how the sexuality works of the different sexes, you can really grasp a lot of those qualities. Like for women, it's very important to have time, to be calm, to be in a state of peace, to be able to relax, and then they have to give in so that they can open and that it flows and feels good and feels soft. And there have to be humidity, okay, which is also a yin quality. And on the other hand, when you think about the yang, the male sexuality functions in exactly the other direction. For us men, it's more, we are more on the quickie side, so to speak. Our sexuality means rising up, means getting into a kind of tension. So there you can really see how yin and yang align to each other. And you kind of, to have good sex, you have to get these both qualities together, come together, and meet kind of in the middle, right? Which is, of course, how every aspect of human relationships works in the end. We always have to find this area in the middle, of yin yang, where we meet. Okay, so then we have peace. So what is also associated with the yin? Of course, compassion, right? So the female is what acts out compassion in the world. Think of the great Mother Teresa, for example, the embodiment of compassion. the woman that takes care of those in need, which is a great quality. Of course, it can get pathological in a way that women give up too much. So that is kind of an exaggeration of the compassion. And women tend to, I have a lot of female clients in my practice where the problem is that they give too much and do not set their boundaries so that people take too much from them and they never say stop. And so in the end, they end up exhausted, and that is really not a healthy thing to do. So compassion, yes, is a female quality, but you always have to make sure that you don't give too much and that the other side really understand what they are getting there, that it's precious and that it's not for granted. Okay, so you have to make sure that you don't waste your energy of someone who is not thankful. Okay, that's important. So also associated is acceptance. Like I talked about the Wu Wei principle beforehand. And if you're interested in that, you could take a look on the video I did on Tao Te Ching chapter 2. That's where the principle of Wu Wei is laid out in the Tao Te Ching. Acceptance is also part of that, right? To accept the world how it is, and then from that derive the best strategy on how to act within that world. Okay. So, of course, we cannot talk about the female without talking about sensitivity. And so women have very fine senses when it comes to what's going on emotionally. That has to do with their role inside a community of kind of, women are very good at looking down. Okay, what does looking down mean? Looking down means to be aware of what's going on inside a community. Women have fine senses when it comes to how does each and every individual in a community feels and what do they need. And that's a very great thing. Like I said in the video about the man, we can focus on one thing very clearly and very effectively. Women can at the same time focus on a lot of things. And so for women, the task is more to decide who is in need most and what is most important to take care of. And that, of course, makes sense if you think of a mother with multiple children. A mother has to prioritize who is in need the most and what has to be done first. And if she isn't able to do that the right way, then the chances that she's getting exhausted are very high. And something which belongs also to this community aspect of Yin is, of course, the higher ability to cooperate. Okay, so we men, as I said in that video, we like to compete. So we like to, in a playful manner, look for who's better. And if that's done in a playful sense, it's great. But women are always looking, in general, in the other direction. They are looking on how can we work together? How can we create harmony amongst us? Okay, and of course, that can also be too much in a sense. So when very often women find it hard to engage in conflict, even though a conflict sometimes is very important to be fought, because otherwise the chances that you are getting either misled, or that you end up in the worst position are very high. So sometimes you have to take on the fight. And if you are looking for harmony all the time, you tend to kind of sacrifice the right for the harmony. Okay, and you shouldn't. Women have to be aware of where that line is. Okay, so cooperation is a good thing, but you always have to look with whom you want to cooperate. So again, it's always about the middle, right? And again, of course, we are talking about the artificial average woman here, which of course does not exist, but we talk of the tendencies which are associated with the yin. Yeah. So, yeah, I would say that's basically it. I probably make 2 more videos on this topic. I want to make a video on the path of the man and also on the path of the women. So it will be about how to act as man or women to be in alignment with our yin and yang qualities. So if you're interested in that, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I thank you for your attention, and I hope you will be back for another video. Have a great day.